welcome to this very special conversation on direct selling in India and how the market has evolved. I'm in conversation with Doug DeVos. He's the president of Amway. Thank you very much for speaking with us here on the Times Network, Doug. Let's start by talking about how the direct selling industry in India has changed. Amway has been in business for well over 50 years. You've been in India for a really long time as well. What kind of changes have you seen?
Well, a lot's happened since 1998 when we arrived here in India, and I think probably a couple things that have happened. We've really connected a lot with the next generation, with a rising generation of youth who are incredibly interested in an entrepreneurial opportunity of a business of their own, selling our products, earning income that way. And I think that is different from when we arrived. I think the whole entrepreneurial spirit in the country has increased and enhanced, and there's more and more people looking for that. I think the competition has also increased. Having to make sure that we as a company are meeting the needs of the marketplace, that our products and that our services and that our operations are meeting the increasing standard of what is happening here in the marketplace. So I think I think direct selling, like any industry, is going to change with market dynamics, and that's something that we work very hard to make sure we do, because we are committed for the long term, and we have to make sure that as the market changes, we adapt just like any other industry.
Okay, so you're talking about market dynamics, and I definitely want to talk about government policy in India. I'm sure India is changing very fast compared to what possibly some of the more developed markets are doing. So let's talk about how government policy right now is changing in India for the direct selling market. Would you like to see anything else here in this market that could possibly help you grow faster?
Sure. So when we arrived in 1998, there was not specific direct selling legislation. So we operated under different legislation, and we certainly knew how to protect consumers and how to operate honorably. But what we found was that it was very confusing, because direct selling was relatively new to the marketplace, that consumers and some in the government would be confused when frauds would pretend they were direct sellers or legitimate direct sellers, and they would say, well, we're just like this company or that company. And it was very difficult for us to distinguish ourselves in the minds of some in the government who had not been familiar with direct selling. So recently, as we've been talking with the government and in the last year or so, they have crafted guidelines specific for our industry that articulates what legitimate direct selling looks like. So it articulates clearly that there's no fees when you join, that it articulates the consumer's protections of refund or guarantees with our products, and that commissions and bonuses are paid on product sales, things like that, which are very standard, internationally standard around the world, but hadn't necessarily happened here yet. So while there's more that will that can continue to happen and clarify, I think we have a very, very good start, and we have a good environment to operate in today.
Okay, you were saying legitimate businesses, and there's a concern of frauds. How do you really talk to your consumers and also to the people that you work with who distribute your products about what their communication should be to distinguish between what is a legitimate business and a product and what's a fraud?
Sure. Well, first of all, it goes